Very brave to come on and talk about this now, and I know that this is still something that you're very nervous about talking, so thank you.
Oh, well done.
So that night out in 2011, we have to start with that. What happened?
I was on a night out with my friends celebrating a birthday, and back then we kind of had a culture of a negative culture where we kind of there's a lot of masculinity, a lot of aggression held, and we kind of felt as if we held these beliefs where you've always got to back your friends and stick up for your friends if anything ever happened. And I remember I got separated from my friends and I received a call saying that there was an altercation somewhere, and me being me back then, I went to the scene and didn't understand what the circumstances were or what the altercation was about, and threw a punch.
So you threw, it was a random punch, an unprovoked punch.
Yeah.
And then after that, you carried on with your night. There'd been a bit of a brawl, you'd thrown a punch, and you carried on.
Yeah, I'd ran away and realised...
Did you know?
I realised I'd done something serious, but nothing to that extent.
And you actually then, after that, you went on holiday, and life continued until you got back. And
a month later.
You found out that your mates' houses had been visited by the police.
Yeah.
Your house had been visited by the police. At what point did you find out what you'd actually done?
Well, there was suspicion of what had happened with hearsay through all my friends and what everyone was being raided for. And eventually, the police rang me and said, "Can you come down to the police station? We're following up on an investigation. We want to follow up on this investigation." And I went down, and that's when the homicide squad was there, and they told me that I was being arrested on suspicion of murder.
And how did you feel when you found out? Because you, like you said, you ran away from the scene. You didn't know what had happened. You knew you threw the punch, but you didn't know that the punch had killed this guy. How did it feel to know that you'd done that?
I've said before, so much goes through your head, and I didn't have much going for me in life at that time. I didn't have any qualifications. I dropped out of school, didn't have any prospects, but I still wanted better for my life than that.
Yeah.
And everything just came crashing down, really.
Well, you said that you served 14 months of a 30-month sentence for manslaughter of James Hodgkinson. He was a 28-year-old paramedic. And that in prison, you actually came out worse than you went in.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it would have been a crucial time before I went to prison, because I actually realised, like I said, I wanted more for my life. But when I went into custody, no one challenged me. No one ever came to me and said, "Have you ever thought about the victims in all this and how that's impacted them?"
You felt like a victim yourself.
And I kind of felt as if I was a victim myself. I kind of felt as if I was unfortunate, and as if I was the one that was going through all the hard times.
Everything changed for you and how you felt about yourself when a probation officer suggested this restorative justice. And this was the very first time you actually took responsibility for what you'd done.
Yeah.
And why was that? What was it about it that worked?
Well, up until then, I'd never even thought about the parents.
A family whose lives you've personally torn apart sit with you face to face, you know, sort of opposite. You're sitting across a table. Is that how it works?
Well, how it started, because none of us felt comfortable meeting each other face to face. But they said they had a few questions to ask me, and I said that, well, my thought process was that the least that I can do in this situation is answer some of these questions that they have, and then move on from there. But what ended up happening was, they asked me those questions, I tried my best to answer them the best I could, and but then after that they started to ask me, "But what are you doing with your life now?" And that's what kind of took me back. I was like, how can they be interested in what I'm doing with my life? Do you know what I mean? And that just impacted me so much that it just spurred me on to think, OK, so what am I going to do with my life now to move forward in a positive way.
And it hasn't just helped you, because it's helped them also, hasn't it? I mean, there's a lot of people think that, gosh, with it is restorative justice, you know, it was you were the person who took someone's life, so why do you get all the help? But actually, most importantly, this helped the parents to move on also.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say that when I first went into this process, I didn't expect to gain anything. I just wanted to try and help them have a bit of peace of mind and answer some of their questions.
There was such loss in this world, because to get you to this stage, you had to go through a real process to get there. Terrible loss to a family. What would you say to those boys that are out there now, that culture, where they think, you know, it's friendship, no, we'll support each other, we'll look after each other, before they have to go through what you went through,
Hey,
or that
Friday
family
night,
went through?
We'll go out, we'll just chuck a few punches.
I would say stories like this get put out there in the newspapers and stuff, and people will say that will never happen to me. But what I would say is that this is a lot more common than what people think. And it doesn't matter if someone tragically passes away, people can be seriously hurt as well. And for you to end up risking it all, going to prison, losing your jobs, think about those of you who have got kids as well, just because you wanted to have a little bit of banter with your friends, and it's not worth it. People need to put themselves first, start acting a bit more responsible.